it as being so valuable. First of all, it's kind of silly to take the stuff that's here on the earth and to give it a whole lot of value. Look at what he says. Where moth and rust destroy. First of all, he says, here's a problem with it. It's temporary. If it's temporary, how does it have value? How does it have value? My car is more valuable to me right now than it was when I got it. Do you know why? Because it's paid for.
Amen.
Amen. It took a whole lot of years. 2 minutes. Don't get mad at me, but I was one of them silly people that went out and got a 7-year loan. 7 on 2 cars at the same time.
Oh my.
I could have turned flips when that last payment was made. Do I want another one? No. I think that I'm 45 now, and I've started to see life a little bit differently. A car is not important.
Amen.
There was a time.
I like Miss Francis.
There was a time.
Come on, Pastor.
And I started to wonder, what is it? Why are we like this? Why do we like to gather stuff? Well, the theme is that we want to be seen by men. Why do we gather? So other folks can see it. And it's all temporary. Do you know what that means? That means that after a while, people look at it and I realize they're not looking at it like they used to. So I have to do what? Go get some more. I have to bring some more in. I have to show them that I'm still doing something else. And my question is, why am I gathering? What is it I'm trying to do? Well, if chapter 6 is about worship, and if he's saying don't do stuff to be seen by men, and if he says that's your reward, then it dawned on me. This is what it is, you see, because he gets down into the end of the paragraph here, and he says, for where your heart is, there your treasure, where your heart is, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And what he's literally saying there, where you value stuff, that's where your heart is. Now, for the Jewish person that's sitting there listening, when they hear heart, they don't think like we might think, the thing beating in here. No, they're literally saying, my heart is my identity. This is my will. This is my emotion. It's everything that's about me. And what he's saying is, what ends up happening is we are not the treasure itself, but the treasure itself is where we get our identity from. Think about that for a second. If my identity comes from stuff that is temporary, I'm constantly trying to replenish stuff because that's my identity. That's why he went back here and he said, don't give charity so other folks will see you, because you want them to identify you as a charitable person. Don't stand up and pray all out there in public just to be seen by men, because all you're doing is you want them to look at you and say, oh, you're a praying person. He says, don't fast to let everybody else in the world know that you're fasting by the way that you're looking, because you want them to know that you're pious, that you're some religious person. And then all of a sudden he said, don't lay up your treasures. Don't lay them up here on the earth. Because all you're really doing is you're trying to get your identity out of the stuff that you have. If my identity is with the stuff I have, I'm in a world of trouble. Because like he says, moth and rust destroy. It's temporary. The second thing that's wrong with that stuff, he says thieves break in and steal. It's not secure. Why do you have locks on your car? How many of y'all go to the mall and leave it unlocked? Have you ever left your car unlocked, come back to the parking lot, and thank the Lord that it's still there? What do you do when you open it? You look inside to make sure nothing's missing. And then you call yourself an idiot for leaving it unlocked. Why? Because you're worried somebody is after your stuff. Now think about this for a minute. We gather things to us for other people to see, and then we don't want them to take it. Not only do, but we'll Because we are identifying ourselves with the stuff that we have. Why do we buy designer clothes? I mean, I can't see what it says inside your body. But the funny thing is, some of us know by looking. Well, that's Calvin Klein. Who is Calvin? Who is Calvin? He ain't Jesus. But I'm proud to put him on. And okay, look. Get this out of your head, okay? You are not getting this stuff because it makes, this is what I want to do. No, you get it so somebody else can see it. Amen. Come on, let's tell the truth. We get it so somebody else can see it. Otherwise, you'd all be wearing Braxton jeans. Amen. I see some of y'all are looking like, I don't know what that is.
They too young.
You got to go back in time a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I graduated in the 80s. Braxton jeans were the best looking jeans out there, but nobody wanted Braxton jeans because you had to get them at Kmart. They were cheap, but they would last forever. No, instead, back then we wanted Guess. Yes, Jordan. Stuff that would split right down the seam. We went after that stuff. We went after the name. Why? I mean, think about it for a second. I am really young. You get apple bottoms, they have to say apple bottom. Can't even put that inside. You gotta put it right on the bottom. Apple bottom. Look at me, is what we're saying. When you get your new car, what do? You go drive it for other people to see you. And it's a vehicle. Do you know what vehicle means? It's a little bit better than a bus, but it does the same thing that a bus does. It's a vehicle. It's a way to get from point A to point B. I got a bicycle. I could ride my bike to Walmart, but for some reason I got to get that orange thing. It'll get me from point A to point B, but I like to be seen by men. I like to be seen. He says, look here. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. Verse 20 is incredible because he says, but, you know what but does? It whoops everything that comes before. He says, now I'm not telling you not to lay up. I'm not telling you not to gather. He says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I got earthly treasures. I know what they are. That's, what's an earthly treasure? Money. Now, by the way, money is worthless. It's a medium of exchange. Money is only as valuable as what it can get you. If it can't get you any stuff, you'll burn it. It does you no good. I know it feels good when it's in your hand, but the only reason it feels good is because you know you can exchange it for something. It's a medium of exchange. We gather and we pile on money because of the things that we can get. And we done got so good in the 80s, we got so materialistic in this society. And by the way, this is Satan's, really his number one weapon that he has in this world against Christians is money. And the way that he does this, I mean, back in the 80s, think about it. We were so caught up in money. That's when we started flashing it. Y'all didn't know that? That's when we started flashing just dollars. Dollar bills, y'all. That's what we were flat. We roll it out. We show everybody. That meant something. Then we had to get gold. Mr. T. There was a change that happened from the 60s and 70s. When we got into the 80s, it was all about what we could show. Bling. Late 80s, early 90s, we came up with bling. All of that was to show men what we had because we were being identified by the stuff that we could gather.